It is 9:01. The Brazos County Commissioners Court will meet in a workshop session as follows. Today, on August 11th at 9 a.m. Present today is Commissioner Nettles, Conderla, and Brown as acting judge, myself. We are called to order. Now I will recognize Nina Payne for our presentations. Nina, thank you.
Good morning and happy Monday. Hope you had a rested weekend. It's going to be a wonderful day. Today we're going to start with capital projects. And so first we're going to go ahead and discuss requested projects by department. This is every single thing that the departments have requested that I'm bringing forth to you. The next on the agenda will be the current projects, which is the projects under contract. And then we'll go through at the very end. I want to ask you as a court to prioritize the projects because I need to put something in the budget, right? So let's get this party started. First is going to be Commissioners Court. Granted, I know Commissioners Court has not requested anything, but in whole, there are certain things that I do put under Commissioners Court's direction. The first all is going to be contingency. Every single year I budget a contingency amount under capital projects. This is the uh-ohs and what-ifs. So this last year we had contingency. We purchased the Ashford Hills property. This year it's the same thing, $2 million, and this is for anything that comes up during the physical year. The next one is going to be 2504 Kent Street Design. This is a future 911 office space. I've requested $500,000 to help out with the design for next year so we can understand the full cost moving forward. And please feel free to ask questions. Okay. The next step is going to be central receiving building and office space for Ashford Hills location. The requested amount for this next year is $10 million. Currently we have $5 million budgeted, but there's been a request to increase it by another $5 million for the construction of it. Do you have any questions regarding Commissioners Court
Ms. Payne,
projects? Yes.
I'd just like the court to recognize that Commissioner Watson is now with us.
Oh.
Welcome, Commissioner Watson. No, I just want everybody to know you're present and accounted for. That there was worry, so we're glad to see you.
Oh, I'm fine.
Okay. So the total request is $12.5 million. I want to keep in mind that you're going to see asterisks throughout the presentations. For right now, those are items that are proposed in the budget, but they're able to be removed as we're going through this process, okay? Are there any questions regarding these three projects on this list? Keep in mind we'll go through them at the very end again, and we'll start prioritizing. Going once, going twice.
I'm shocked by the $10 million for
For a building?
yeah, central receiving building and office space. You know, we have three big metal building people here in town. And I'm just wondering where they got a price of $10 million for a metal building.
I'm going to have to go ahead and ask purchasing or project management to explain that. I know it was explained a couple months ago when we were going out for bid for the $5 million, and it wasn't approved, and so that's where the $10 million had come up. But we can go into further discussion about that project if you let me call other people up to the stand.
Absolutely, but can you be clear with your statement beforehand? You said we can remove it now or later at the end of this discussion? Okay, thank you.
Yep. I prefer let's go through everything
Correct.
so you can see the whole picture of all the requests, and then we start prioritizing from there.
Excellent.
Okay?
Thank you.
Any questions?
Did you want to call Trevor or anybody up?
No, it's
Okay,
Are you
at
sure?
this time? No, thank
I'm
you.
just not in construction, so I can't tell you all that answers.
okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Sound good? We're gonna call each department up on the agenda. I wouldn't be departmental, name specific because the department head or elected official might not be the one presenting. And so we'll just go ahead and call by department. The next up is gonna be fleet shop, light and heavy equipment.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My
Good
name's
morning.
Ken Chadwick, and I am the Director of Fleet Services. And this is my Assistant Director, Dwayne Holloway. He's going to hand out a spreadsheet that's going to kind of help us get through this.
Thanks, Dwayne.
We have two shops. One of them being a light fleet shop, one of them being a heavy fleet shop.
Thank you.
Our Our heavy fleet, our light fleet shop is where we basically build our police vehicles. And we upfit our own vehicles in that shop. We put all the lights and sirens, and that's in the sheriff's office vehicles and constables. And we also repair and maintain all of our light fleet vehicles, like the county attorney's office, the DA, and we've got facility services, Expo, the health department. Everybody all the light vehicles get repaired and maintained in that light fleet shop. Our heavy fleet shop, that is mostly road and bridge. It used to be the road and bridge shop and the road and bridge facility, so it's still, we maintain the road and bridge trucks. We upfit them trucks with toolboxes and take care of all that in that facility. But we also maintain all the dozers and track hoes and motor graders and heavy equipment out of their dump trucks. Well, if you look at the spreadsheets on the top that we sent to you, it shows that we have priority ones and priority twos. Every year about January, February, we get with all of the departments and we try to figure out what kind of vehicles we need to start cycling out, whether they're costing us too much money or they're got a lot of miles and we know it's going to start costing us a lot of money. Well, that's where it reflects the vehicles that you see on this list right here. If you look at the top of your light fleet list right there, you can tell that we've had 3 of them that we ended up having to replace last year. Well, it's out of our FY25 vehicles. It was some extra vehicles we have. And we try right now to just purchase a number of Tahoes and a number of pickup trucks, not designating them to a particular vehicle, but we use this list right here as something that we know we need to start with these vehicles. These are our priority ones. Sometimes priority twos may move up there and we don't realize it. You know, they start getting more miles, they start giving us more problems, we have to replace those instead. Just like those got replaced out of FY25 vehicles, we are looking at trying to replace the priority ones that are left on that list right there. And by looking at that list, there is now, since we've gotten rid of 3 of our patrol units, we're not going to be asking for that many patrol units. You show 5 silvers and 1 white Tahoe. We won't need the white because we ended up replacing it with an extra vehicle. And we're probably going to need at least 3 of the other, the silver. And if we could get 4 out of that, we're giving back 2 Tahoes to that list. We won't need them all. In the same way on the trucks, you'll see the priority ones on the road and bridge side. We have 3 of those vehicles that need to be, they're priority ones. We'll put 3 vehicles in their place and we'll just run them until we can't run them anymore. We try to get as many miles as we can out of them. And then we'll look at replacing those vehicles. Now some of these vehicles are, I know out of the priority 2 on that road and bridge side they're almost 20 years old, so they may end up moving up to a priority 1.
So this boomer mower, you're saying y'all have patched it up where you think you can keep it going for another year?
And when we get into the heavy equipment side, yes ma'am, that's going to show. We are thinking about trying to get another year out of that boom mower. That boom mower it was staying down for the longest time, and we had metal in the transmission. We had problems with it stay running, but we've worked through a lot of the bugs and had to spend a lot of money on it. It's like I said, a lot of this is taking place in January and February when we're trying to evaluate the fleet to see what we're going to replace. And since then, Road and Bridge has really needed that boom mower, so we worked at it to try to keep it running. And part of that, you know, that we've done is making me feel like we might be able to keep it a little longer, but it could fail at any time.
Right.
But I think we've got that thing to where I can reevaluate it next year. We'll see what it looks like.
Okay.
But staying on the light vehicles, these patrol units, is there any questions about the vehicles that we're asking for right here?
Ken, are you having any problems with supply chain now? I mean, are things kind of normalized?
Well, since COVID, we did have a lot of problems. And then when they started trying to push the electric vehicles, we had a hard time trying to get gas-powered vehicles. We still have an order bank that we have to tend to. Purchasing gets that order bank from the different dealerships, and then we kind of got to follow into that line when we can order vehicles, because we may end up having to order some early right now because we don't know where the order bank is right now. We haven't got it. But Nina has been trying to be prepared for that case. Luckily, this is probably my lightest budget year. Normally I'm asking for twice this amount. The vehicles have been staying alive, and one of the things we did, once we got away from the Chargers, those numbers, if you look at the mileages on these spreadsheets, they're close to 150 to 160,000 miles. And the Chargers, we could barely get 100,000 miles out of that vehicle. And since we got the Explorers, we went to an SUV. Our target was to try to get 150,000. We're right at it, and they're starting to fail. We've had to put engines, we've had to put transmissions in them. But keep in mind, these patrol units, most of them are averaging about 4,000 hours of idle time. And that is equal to about 125,000 extra miles. So some of these vehicles are, you know, close to 275,000 miles when you look at them. But we still, right now, start thinking about these, the Tahoes have been a better vehicle for us. And we're hoping that because of the total cost of building a patrol unit, we might be able to extend that mileage a little further, even if we have to put an engine in it or a transmission, something like that, to try to keep it going. Because a fully built Tahoe, if someone was to ask for an addition to the fleet, it's almost $90,000 with the vehicle and the equipment. Now, one of the reasons we upfit our own vehicles is because of the fact that we can take the components from the old vehicle, because some of these are getting cycled out in maybe 5 to 7 years. We take the partitions, the consoles, and we can put them into the new unit and keep using them.
Yeah, great.
So it saves us a lot. If we were to upfit outside from an outside jobber, they want to set you up with the whole, everything new at the, you know, each build. So it saves us a whole lot of money by building them ourselves. But because of the cost of those, the way Tahoes are now, and you can ask Dwayne, we have gotten some good service out of the Tahoes. We are seeing some transmission issues, but a transmission may cost us about $5,000, and we can put it in fairly easy. The Explorers were all-wheel drive, so they had transfer cases. They got kind of expensive, so you got to kind of evaluate how much of that you want to put into a vehicle that's got close to the equivalent of 300,000 miles.
Right.
And because I only have so much personnel, and we have a major fleet to maintain. We got about 550 vehicles and equipment, not that many people.
How many total people?
We have 13, but I have 2 parts guys. I got 2 assistants, you know, to handle our their resource specialists, our POs and stuff. So the mechanics, we only got a few in each shop. And that's what happens when we start getting into replacing engines and transmissions. Sometimes that $5,000 engine might turn into $10,000 because I got to sub it out. because I don't have enough to keep up with my everyday work and still do engine jobs. But there's times it slows down enough. I know Dwayne has done it a few times, put engines and transmissions in them because the vehicles are still in really good shape, and we want to go as far as we can with them. And a lot of times, like if you look back at that road and bridge sheet where that top truck, that half-ton pickup is, it's got 200,000 miles on it right now. If I look at the records on when that thing is being worked on, it's only got services, because that guy was a supervisor that was driving it out of town. Then 200,000 miles is pretty light. But it belongs to our right-of-way agent, and he needs something dependable. But what I'll do with that vehicle, my service guy, he's my shop foreman, he gets called out at night. I can put him in that truck, and if it breaks, he'll either fix it or call a wrecker and we'll get it in. We're not too concerned about it as long as he can get his job done. But the new vehicle will then go to our GIS department. GIS doesn't do much more than map our roads and things. They get hardly any miles. So I give them the brand new truck, put the right-of-way agent in their truck, which I've already cycled them through. So I'm rotating vehicles. I do it with SO. We're trying to get the constables involved in it, where we build the supervisor or the elected official. We put them in a new patrol unit. Till later, we just let them drive it for a few miles, and then we upfit it for a patrol, and they finish the miles off of it. That way, the elected official or the supervisors get a new vehicle every couple of years, and we're cycling the vehicles out. We had a lot of issues with vehicles sitting because they were older vehicles. Nobody wanted to drive them, but they were asking to be replaced at mileages like 60,000 miles. So what we're trying to do is manage the fleet to where we rotate these vehicles out. And we're not coming up here and asking for a vehicle with those kind of mileages. So there's a lot of stuff that we do to try to maintain the fleet. And by the time I get through with any of these vehicles, you can go to my auction line and you can bet you don't want to buy them. There's nothing left to them. We pretty much run them completely out. Road and bridge vehicles, at 160,000 miles, some of these vehicles are, 94s, they're 20 years old. Some of them, even the 2012s that have 160,000 miles on them, there will be no rubber left on the steering wheel. It'll be a steel shaft. There won't be no springs left in the seats. The foam is gone. So by us rotating them out, we pretty much get everything we can out of vehicles. It may not show it a lot of times here. And that's why when we buy these vehicles right here, we give you a priority one of where they're headed, but they may not end up there. They may total a vehicle out, and we have to move that vehicle to the totaled one. Because we don't want to take a good running unit. It may be making noise or acting up, but we don't want to take that unit out if it's still running when we got one that's totaled. We'll put the new one in the place of the totaled one and keep the fleet running, or keep the department running. So we have to deal with those kind of options all the time. Does anybody have any questions right now?
Mr. Brown?
Ken, I think originally we thought that to have silver paint on Tahoes or whatever the vehicles were was $1,500. And I called the dealer, and now it's $500 on a Tahoe and $600 on a Ford pickup or Ford products.
Right.
So they have lowered that. So you might want to check and make sure that they did lower that to what
We will
they
have to
told
look
me.
into that. Because that's one of the reasons I'm looking at trying to put an extra silver in, because it's harder to get the silvers. The white, we really don't need the extra white, because normally somebody's got one. Even though there's only a certain order bank, a lot of the dealers buy extra vehicles and they have them on their lot. So we can call around and pick up a vehicle as long as they're on a cooperative to where we can buy.
And I saw that $9,300 to outfit each of the vehicles. I guess that's for putting 143 different flashing lights on a vehicle.
Well, if we were to start from scratch with that, it would
Uh-huh.
cost us a whole lot. Now, some of it can interchange, like light bars and stuff, and the core system, we can change them over, but a lot of that is the stuff that won't fit, and adapter kits. Sometimes we have to have roll cage adapters or partition adapters and things like that. So that 93, it is some of that though, running board lights, and I heard that we're looking at now, some push bumpers. We have to try to get some pricing for Nina about, adding push bumpers to them.
Well, that's where all their profit is. When they sell you the vehicles, it's at dead zero profit. Where they make all the money is on the,
Oh, yeah.
all the stuff they
exactly.
put on them.
Yes, sir.
So,
And I know, they don't mind, I mean, Caldwell Country, we deal with Avert. I don't know what's going on with Avert. Have you heard anything about that?
I talked to
know
him.
there's a lot of changeover going on over there.
there is, and part of that group broke away and started another company that's between here and Madisonville. So they're doing the same thing. They have a different dealer that supplies them the vehicles.
Right.
But I talked to Everett last week, and that's where I got these prices on the
On
silver
the
paint.
paint, right. Yeah, there is an added cost to that particular color, and they were talking about red also, because sometimes we look at some of our CID vehicles, they like to be incognito because they do a lot of investigations. They don't want that silver truck out there. They want to be out there where they can't be spotted. They look like a civilian. So there's not too many colors to choose from.
No.
Well, do we have any other questions on these light-duty vehicles? We will be giving away, or giving back those 2 Tahoes on that price, so that'll help some. And I'll be going into Cledio software. We have between the fleet department and Road and Bridge, we've been using a work order system. I've been here so long, we used to do all our work orders on paper and we'd put them in a folder. And I had a big old file cabinet. Well, we were able to get a company called CompuLink, and it cost us about $1,500 a year for this software. It allows us to basically keep up with all of our inventory, that's parts, keep up with our assets, that's all of our vehicles and equipment. And it's worked for both me and Road and Bridge, or Fleet and Road and Bridge. Well, all of a sudden, I guess, because it's so cheap, it was one founder. He's the guy that wrote the software and he sold it to us. One of the girls that used to work at Road and Bridge found this company, and it was so cheap and it seemed like it would work. It'd get us out of just doing folders and paper. Well, it turns out we've been using them for, I think since, I can't even think now, about 15 years now, I guess. But maybe a little less. Well, this fella passed away, and we have no idea when it comes due in December to get our license, if we're going to have a software. We did end up moving it to our own server, and it's got all of our data in it. It basically has all our work orders. It has our inventory system. It has all of Road and Bridge's gravel and culverts and their bill out rates for equipment. All of our salaries, everything is on this system. So come December, we don't know what we're up against. If it's going to go dark and we lose everything we got, or he may have given it to us knowing that he was going, and it's just going to keep running on our server, and we won't lose anything. But I thought it was a good opportunity for us to look into a fleet maintenance software, because our fleet has gotten so big. I've been with it since I basically started. It was a small fleet and it's grown, and I took over the rest of the fleet, and I'm fixing to hand it off to Dwayne. And I thought that it'd be nice to have a fleet management software. There's a lot of benefits to a fleet management software. And I don't need to go into it too much, but Dwayne may be asking for it in the future. Right now, I've been pretty much persuaded that because Road and Bridge is on the same software, we need to concentrate on trying to help everybody out. I think Facilities has not been real happy with their software, so if I ended up getting a dedicated software for Fleet, you'd be hit by Road and Bridge to get another one, and then maybe Facilities for another one. So what IT is doing right now is looking into a software that we have now that IT was using, and you may be able to ask them more questions about that when they get up here with their presentation. But it's ServiceNow, and Trevor, he's kind of worked with me to be able to take my request on what I need the software to do for us, and he's gotten with Road and Bridge, and they're working to try to make sure that we have some kind of backup software at this point to take over CompuLink in case something happens to it in December. So basically, we kept that money in that budget as that request in case we get, IT ends up needing more license fees and things to try to make something work for all of us. And we'll just put the fleet maintenance software on hold for a little while until we can evaluate it. But we don't know what that's gonna how that's gonna work. Because that CompuLink was costing us $1,500 a year. You don't find software like that. Do we have any questions about that?
Commissioners?
No.
None.
And
Thank you.
it may be that we figure out a way to make this ServiceNow software work, and all we have to do is figure out the users and give them a license. We're going on to, what, heavy equipment? Okay, this heavy equipment, that boom mower, like Commissioner Watson was bringing up earlier, that boom mower may save us that much money this year. At the time when we started with it, that thing was stopping up transmission filters back to back, but we had a failure on a hydraulic pump that we ended up having to replace. So I'm concerned one of my mechanics, it was in a bad spot. We don't know if we got some trash in it, but over time we flushed it, and I thought we were gonna have to end up replacing that transmission, and we were looking at over $50,000 just for one section, $50,000 for another section of that thing. And then we were having problems with the front pump and the motor that runs the blade, the saw blade, and this boom mower is what we use to clear right-of-ways with. And right now they're backed up. They've got a lot of stuff they need to take care of. But we started evaluating that back in January, and I know I just got it back from Hydraulic Works. They rebuilt the front pump and they replaced the motor on the head. We found the fuel system completely blocked, and we've repaired that because it was staying in the shop more than it was doing its job. And my job is to make sure the departments are doing their job. So I have to make the call and try to figure out what I'm going to do with it. But since then, it seems like we're able to make this thing run. It's only got 5,000 hours, which 5,000 hours on a small piece of equipment, that's a farm tractor with an attachment. It's not a dedicated boom mower. This price was for a dedicated boom mower, which I pulled most of those pictures so you don't have it, but we'll reevaluate that next year, and all we got to worry about right now is that $268,000 is coming off of there. The shoulder up attachment, you should have some pictures in your pamphlet there. Road and Bridge has a lot of shouldering up to do, and I'm not sure if anybody knows what that is, but I put some pictures in there of what they're using now. This shoulder up machine, well, we'll go back to the one you see the pictures of the two motor graders. That's what they're doing right now to do shoulder up. They're basically dumping gravel or material in the road and taking a blade, a motor grader, and pushing it off to the side, and then they're rolling it. Well, you can see it scrapes the existing seal coat road, so that doesn't help the road they're in. Plus, they waste a lot of material. And this is, I put it as an addition, but we did have a machine that was on the back of a 16-yard. It was a conveyor belt, and it would shovel the material out of the dump truck to the shoulder. That truck died a couple of years ago, and that conveyor went with it, and it wasn't a real good idea. The state used it for a while, and a lot of guys didn't like using it. It was hard to use, and it didn't do a good job at all. They'd rather do it this way. Until the next picture you see, which is a shoulder up. Well, they call it a road widener. It mounts to the front of a loader, and you run dump trucks in front of it. You dump your product into it, and you basically, it's got an auger, a conveyor, and it shoves it to the side, so you can see that, in theory, you know, this is probably their best picture, but they're trying to get the material where they need it, and they're not destroying the road. And we do have a machine, a loader, that's set up with the hydraulics that can run it. It's just a matter of putting the attachment on there. But that price is $74,000 for that machine. I did bring some of the guys from Road and Bridge. Well, they're here anyway, but I've got them back there in case y'all have any more questions about it. They do have a lot of, I think, what did we put on here? There's a lot of road, well, it was on my other list. 481 miles of county roads. I don't know how much of that is shoulder, you know, that needs shoulder up, but that's a lot of roads. Do we have any more questions on that one?
Commissioners?
No, sir.
So my only comment is so what we're kind of doing is you're keeping this thing running with a pair of pliers and a coat hanger. And therefore, so we're just sort of deferring the inevitable, is what it sounds like to me. You know, while you're saying, I'm not questioning your ability, because, you know, my husband was a mechanic, but you're keeping it going, is all I can say. And it sounds like to me, it could just say, let me die any minute now, anytime.
Well, some things are definitely like that. That boom mower had me feeling that way. When it's sitting in my shop more than it's sitting out on the roads, we're not doing our thing.
I got you. So we're just kind of, so what you're saying is if we have to replace it, if this is what it would cost,
And
approximately.
Right now, the boom mower is, like I said, we're gonna just reevaluate it next year. But the shoulder up attachment, it is a replacement for the old one, and we're just asking for that money to get this latest one.
Okay.
So on the shoulder up attachment, when we do that on our chip and seal roads, how long does that extend the life of the road?
Well, basically what it does is it, you know that sharp edge that sometimes you drive off of, it puts your cars out of control. Plus what it also does is you got more runoff. It will save the seal coat itself. You're not getting water up underneath the seal coat. That helps control it, but I can't tell you how much longer it will save the road. Now, one of these guys back here with Road and Bridge might be able to tell you that.
But combined with maintenance and longevity and safety.
Yeah. I'm just curious, because I've had several people say they've never seen this done to our roads before, and we started doing it, so I was wondering what the driving force and
They've
how long
never
it's gonna-
seen the shoulder up. Well, that's the problem. A lot of times when people run off of the road, you know, it peels up the gravel and stuff. The seal coat gets a sharp edge, so you have to worry about if that car goes off the road. It may have a tendency to drive you off in the ditch, you know, cause you to go out of control.
Or overcorrect when you come back on the road, yeah.
Right, so that shoulder up does
Safety, safety,
protect
safety.
that also. I think that's the biggest thing for shouldering up, but it does have an effect on, I've been told, years, if you got any water that collects under that seal coat, anything, all your traffic's gonna peel it up. So anything that's done to that shoulder and that surface that mates to that seal coat, you're protecting it that much longer. And this is something we've been doing for a long time. It's just we don't have an adequate way of doing it.
We hadn't been doing it efficiently and
Right.
effectively.
It's been costly, and plus you can do a lot more if you have the right tools to do it with.
Exactly.
I know it is an expensive piece of equipment, but in the last 5 years, it seems like everything has just about doubled in price.
And we'll use less material, because we'll put exactly what we need where we want it.
We will be.
So it's
that's
a
for
matter,
sure.
yeah. So it's a matter of balancing, trying to do it in-house with the cost of providing the staff with the equipment that they need for us to be able to do it in-house. You know, you can't
Exactly.
have one without the other. They need as the judge is saying, they need the proper tools to be able to do the job well.
Exactly, exactly. And it's more proficient whenever you can get a lot more done, you know, the people tie it up, because you've got flaggers, you have dump trucks waiting in line. You have a full crew that's working to do any one of these jobs, so, you know, the further you can go with it, that means the more you can get done and get these guys out of there.
So if we have the road and bridge guys, I'd like them to come up, because I'm not really getting an answer to my question, and because
Okay.
you don't know, and I understand that. So of these roads, 400 something, how many are we shouldering every year? Because I'll tell you, I've had neighbors go, I've never seen the county do this before. So if we're doing lots of them,
Right.
we're not doing them repeatedly. So, and maybe that's a good thing, but it's not your role to answer it,
Oh,
I
I
got it.
understand.
But if we got any road and bridge folks here,
I have a few of them here right now.
Who do we want to call up?
It's, Sean Eldridge, he'll come up here.
Sean, thank you.
Yes, I know about how this stuff works, but
But
I'm
not-
not.
Good
not the
morning.
details, I got it.
Right.
So I have a couple questions. The first is, how long does this extend our chip and seal road if we do this? And two, this new piece of equipment, I'm assuming you can do more than your current equipment. How much more are you gonna be able to do?
Quite a bit more. So, I mean, I don't have the mileage, we put it into hours, for a whole year. And, we can also do level up. This machine not only does the shoulder up, it'll do the level up on a wheel path in the middle of the road.
Okay?
So it helps the seal all the way around. The edge of the road chips, it chips into the driving surface.
Right.
So it just
Especially at the
depends.
corners.
All these truck drivers use the edge of the road to drive.
Yep.
So there's no guarantee of 5 years, you know. But we put in 833 hours of shoulder up, this fiscal in 1 year.
And what do you think this will be able to help you reach next year?
We can, almost double it.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay?
And then equipment hours is 742. So it'll take a little less equipment with this machine.
All right.
You mean
I'm
with-
satisfied.
You mean
Thank
with, you mean with a new machine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
How about labor?
A little less labor.
And that'll help save material also.
I see the material savings.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank y'all.
My chair does this.
Did we get what we needed there, Commissioner? I'm not sure.
So that answered my question, so I appreciate it. I'm satisfied.
Good. Commissioners, any other questions for Ken or Dwayne?
Uh,
Have you completed your,
I'm almost there.
okay, no, keep going then. But Commissioner
No,
Condola had
I'm-
something left.
I'm
I was
pretty,
gonna wait to the end. Go ahead.
well, I'm pretty much done with, except for one piece of equipment that got pulled off. It was this was an addition to the road and bridge fleet. And normally what I do is if the department is asking for an addition, or if they're looking for an upgrade in whatever they have as far as a vehicle, which I'm gonna go back to one other thing. The sheriff's department on that other list was asking for a 4x4. They're gonna be up later to explain that, but Road and Bridge was asking for an upgraded water truck, a complete water truck, and you'll see it on my spreadsheet. It's not up there, but No, oh, it is, that herbicide truck, you got it right there. Yeah, the herbicide truck. You'll see the pictures in the back. Right now, they're using one that's got about 250 gallons. And their concern is they're having to tie up a lot of time coming back and forth trying to refill this thing. They lose a lot of production time just running around trying to find water and trying to remix their chemicals and get back out. And they have so many roads, that's where the 481 miles of road come in. But they're allowed, they can run 4 times as much with this bigger truck. Plus, they've got a couple of guys that's already licensed that they can put into a position. I think they were even asking for another person for this, but I think they've got a position available and they've got some guys that have license, they can move into that position. They just need another vehicle, another truck. And that's what we're looking at is $148,000 to buy that. It's got a 1,000-gallon tank. This is not the truck, this is one Producers has. And it's rigged up simple. It just has an electric pump with spray rig in the back and a way that you can mix the chemicals. And it's basically a truck with a 1,000-gallon tank on it.
So just to be clear, you're saying we need this in addition to the 250-gallon truck?
Right,
We're not replacing?
right. They never in a year's time able to get all the roads that.
Yeah,
they're
250 gallons is not going to go far.
No, not at all.
Very
Not with
inefficient.
what they're doing, because they're basically, what they're spraying or putting shoulder up on, they're spraying them shoulders for weeds and grass, plus guardrails and tank dams and whatever, you know, they're. And these guys probably know better about any questions you might have, but I told them I would bring this thing back up. And,
And they're killing weeds too to keep it from penetrating the sides of the asset of the road base.
If we're going to work on our shoulder up, and we better have the weeds killed so it is more effective if we're moving at a faster pace. Correct.
well, you know, basically, when those things happen, like when you got people running off the roads and you've got grass growing over the roads and right-of-ways that ain't getting cut, you know,
Right.
you guys usually get to hear about it.
A little bit.
Yep.
Y'all get the phone calls. But that is one of the things that y'all might want to make a decision on or ask Road and Bridge when they're up here again about what they think of, if you have any more questions about that. But going back on my list, my light fleet list, and what I said about we require the department to come up and ask for their own upgrades or any equipment added. I take care of Road and Bridge because I've been working for Road and Bridge since I started here. And I usually will ask for a lot of their equipment because that's where I'm working in the heavy shop. But eventually when SO comes up here, they're going to probably be asking for an upgrade on that one truck that's it's a SO 239. Just so you know, we looked at the cost of to upgrade one from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive, the same vehicle, and it's about $3,000. Now, there's some maintenance involved, not a lot, and you're basically driving around with a 4-wheel drive, which a lot of our Road and Bridge guys, they do that because they got to have 4-wheel drive in some cases. But I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that particular vehicle. And if you don't have any more questions, or Commissioner Gundler, you.
Well, I was
you
just
wanted
going to say, it's the fourth time, Ken, that you and Dwayne and your team that I've sat in on a budget request for y'all, and I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you guys trying to make the assets last as long as possible by
Absolutely.
rotating them, by maintaining them well, and by calling a foul when we need to get rid of an asset and get something else. I don't think a lot of folks understand, you know, 150,000 miles on a vehicle, that's, for me, that's break-in period. But I don't have 125,000 equivalent miles of idle time. And so people, you know, not everyone understands what the vehicles go through, and you all do, and y'all keep them running as best you can. And you are, I think, also very analytical about, you know, what vehicle performed well, should we buy that vehicle again or not? and working with department heads, working with Road and Bridge on that team approach of what's the best vehicle, what's the best asset for you to do your job, and is going to be the best return on investment for the taxpayer dollar. And anyway, man, I really appreciate that. As a department head, I appreciate you doing that every year. It's clearly a priority for you guys, and
Well, it means a lot to us, coming from y'all. And we got some of the best guys, I think,
Clearly.
in this county. We've had the cities asked to build their vehicles, upfit their vehicles. So our guys are doing one hell of a job
yeah,
with them, you know. We don't have problems with lights and sirens not working, you know.
Yeah.
We did at one time, we'd subbed that out to some of the local jobbers, and we didn't know how they were gonna be built. But we do have a bunch of good guys in fleet, and women, you know, they take care of us.
yeah, it's a good team over there. I just wanted to tell you that's been my observation now 4 times, and I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate y'all.
Thank you,
Yep.
Ken.
Ken,
Thank you so
Dwayne,
much.
thank you.
Yep, appreciate
Commissioner
you.
Watson?
I just want to say the same
Ken?
thing. Appreciate all that you do and and the fact that you collaborate with the other departments to help this county function. I thank you personally, I thank you. And the citizens, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
See you, Dwayne.
Ms. Payne?
To piggyback on he was talking about the order bank. Currently, the order bank is open now for us to purchase vehicles for next year. When that bank closes, then we have to wait till it opens up again, thanks to COVID. And so purchasing right now is working on getting quotes for the certain vehicles that have been requested. And we'll probably come to court to purchase vehicles in the order bank this year for next year's order. Granted, they won't be here until next year, so the funds will roll, the POs will roll, but we'll probably be coming to y'all in a week or two to go ahead and get those vehicles ordered this year because the order bank is open, okay? Keep in mind that white Tahoes are always on the lot. They're easier to find. The silver Tahoes, you always have to get them ordered, and they take a little longer, and so we have to keep that in mind, okay? Do you have any questions regarding those vehicles? Okay,
thank
so the next step is going to be county treasurer.
Christian, welcome.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Good morning.
The one request that I had, it's much shorter than light fleet and heavy fleet, was a hotel occupancy tax collection software. The request was for $50,000. That request includes both the payment portal and the identification of short-term rentals that are not currently paying Brazos County. Currently, the process is we have a form online, they fill out the form, they mail in the form, they pay by check. They can also come into the office, but there is not a way for them to process it online, nor is there a portal for them to see what has been paid to us. They have to contact us to see any previous payments that have been made. The collection software itself, a couple years ago, the legislator added to the county hotel occupancy tax section that the hotel occupancy tax that we collect can be used to fund the software. So it does not come from the general fund, it comes from the hotel occupancy tax fund.
Do you have an estimate of what you think's out there?
For how many we have not collected on. So currently we have about 225 taxpayers. That can include multiple properties per taxpayer. When I looked at
This is
Air-
excluding the big hotels, correct?
that is including.
Including?
Yes. When I looked on Airbnb this morning to kind of just get the idea, there's 1,000 properties out there. Now there may be some duplicates in there, and there may be some that are currently inactive, that they're only active during football season. They don't actually collect throughout the year. But there's 1,000 properties out there. Airbnb via Verbo, they don't actually give you an address that we could go on their site and say, this is the person we need to contact in order to collect from. When you click on the property, it's a generic area. So if you're in a neighborhood, you got multiple streets that you're looking at, so I don't necessarily have an address that I can point to, send a letter to saying, you've been identified as a
But it should
short-term rental.
be more than what it costs for the software, correct? Possibly.
I would assume
would hope and
so.
assume,
Yes,
correct.
I would assume so. Again, and that comes from not the general fund, it's coming from the hotel occupancy
Correct.
tax fund.
And you have the ability to pay for it with that.
Correct, yes, sir.
Christian, have you, just asking, have you talked to College Station or Bryan about what they might be utilizing in a similar tool? And if
So-
that's possible to extend licensing or anything for less?
So they are both using a third-party tax collection software. The cities were allowed to use that before the counties were, with the legislation.
Yes, sir.
City of Bryan is using GovOS, and then City of College Station is currently using Deckard. And so there is the possibility of working with them in that sense. But since we're a different collection entity, we would still have to have our own site and
Sure.
login for the
No, that
person.
makes sense,
Uh,
yeah.
But there is that
What's the
and-
name of the software that you are targeting?
currently it would still be going out for RFP to figure
Okay.
out which one we would use.
Okay.
We have, when we started this conversation a year ago, we did talk to the one that currently City of Bryan uses. To
And is
kind of
that-
try to give an idea.
Is that where you got that kind of $50,000 estimate?
Correct, yes, sir. It's,
Okay.
the initial quote was under that, but again, that was about a year ago that we got that, so I don't know if there's changes as far as what it is right now. And I foresee that number being lower and closer to 40,000.
Right.
I know in my case, I've got two very, very large VRBOs, and both Airbnb and VRBO, when a customer registers and they rent the properties, they collect from them the money that is a hot tax. And then yearly, they're supposed to give I guess they send you money once a year,
So they
or every
only-
quarter, or I don't
They
know how
only
it works.
collect for the state. They don't collect for local entities. So, and that's part of the issues, that there's miscommunication when they sign up. Airbnb says they collect a hotel occupancy tax. They only collect for the state, the 7% for the state, and they remit that directly to the state. Any
Okay.
local tax, when it comes to City of Bryan, City College Station, or Brazos County, is not collected through Airbnb or Vrbo.
Okay.
It falls on the owner of the property, correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
And the property owners sometimes don't know that they have to do it for the city and the county,
Correct, yes, ma'am.
and you have no way to send them a bill, kind of like we do for everything else.
That's where the identification part comes into play. It's hard for us to identify them, and also, once we identify them, it's still up to the property owner to present what their taxable receipts were.
The state won't share that information. We collected tax in Bryan
So
from
this,
Fred Brown.
we pull from the state, once a quarter, and we try to go through it to see if there's any properties. The problem is, what Airbnb and Vrbo sends to the state is just a dollar amount. It's not listed out by which properties it is.
Wow.
So the state has 260 in Brazos County. We can go through that list and make sure that they're on our list, because they rent outside of Airbnb or Vrbo, but if they're renting within Airbnb or Vrbo, we don't have that address, nor does the state.
Well, I think the money that you have the potential to collect would be much greater than $40,000 to $50,000. Because I was under the assumption all these years that I've had these properties, that everything was being paid directly to the hot tax. And that's what we were told early on from both VRBO and Airbnb, so.
And we've had that conversation with multiple people, and the way that they put it on their website, as you have said, is not clear.
No, it's not.
It's not clear enough.
Okay.
They, the state, put it on the website, or who?
No, VRBO.
VRBO, okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that we can use hot tax to pay for that, and I think that's probably a pretty wise investment.
Yep.
And what is that percentage?
For the hotel occupancy tax?
Yes.
It's 2.75%. 2% comes to Brazos County. The 0.75% is remitted to Texas A&M at the end of the quarter.
To Texas A&M?
Yes, sir.
Like they need extra money, okay.
Yeah, there's an
So they-
ILA with them.
They get their piece of the pie.
Yeah, there's an ILA with them. I think it was in 2013 that it got added in, that we.
Kyle
it
Field
went through the
reconstruction
legislature.
deal.
Correct. We collect the 0.75% and then we remit it to Texas A&M for Kyle Field reconstruction.
Thank you.
Any further questions, commissioners?
Thanks, Christian.
Mr. Nettle? Christian, thank you.
Thank y'all.
As discussed, that this request will be used, hot tax will be used for this request. Sorry about that.
That's easy for you to say.
I know. And so, even though this is general fund, pretty much, I'm making a note that this is a hot fund
passes
request.
through.
And it will be passed on to the hot fund, and we'll go into discussion as well during that hot fund special revenues. We've been in here for an hour. Would you like to do like a 5-minute
Yes.
recess?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay,
It's attention to the court to recess for 5 minutes.
brought a bit.
Thank you, Ms. Payne.
thank you.
Maybe I shouldn't have run a big cup full of dice.